Every time I get asked that question, I'm going to make a better video about it, so keep asking me. Greetings. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. The number one question I get through any platform, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, surveys, or emails, the number one main question is always pretty much, how do I properly evoke demons? How do I properly evoke spirits? Now that question may come in a number of different flavors, but that's essentially the question that I get almost every day. So, if you see me making videos about that subject, it's for a reason. It's because apparently that is the most asked question, which is, again, part of the point why I did the survey, so I can figure out what people are wanting to know the most out of this subject. So, in my research to try to refine and skim down a very clear, concise, quick answer to that question, I come to find that there's a little bit of background preparation that needs to be there first. Honestly, when people ask that question, my first response is always to meditate, right? And to some people that doesn't make much sense, I suppose, because usually if you're interested in evoking a demon or summoning a spirit, you get that from literature or entertainment. In other words, you're thinking that it is a quick kind of one-off, huge, spectacular event. But it's not. Because you got to look at the definition of these things, right? When you talk about a demon, there's not a parallel world where a bunch of angry spirits are dancing around, destroying things, waiting for you to open the gate, unleash havoc upon the earth. That's not what happens. Now, you got to understand that these spirits are parts of you, okay? The world is nothing but energy and vibration. Deep down, when you look and zoom into the tiniest molecule, the tiniest particle, it's just vibration. Science has confirmed this now. What the ancient texts have been saying all along. It's all vibration. Solid things are just a slower rate of vibration. And things like light are a super high frequency of vibration. But it's all vibration. Because when you stack up the different rates on top of each other, it's all one thing. It fits nicely together like a big bowl of soup. Like, if you let the milk sit in the fridge past its expiration date, eventually, that chunky stuff separates from the liquid stuff. That's kind of like how reality is. The lower the vibration, the chunkier the stuff. And the higher that vibration, the more fluid. So there is no you, okay? Because when you really zoom into it, you are just a part of that soup, okay? Now, thankfully, or not thankfully, reality exists on three levels. There's the physical, which is the dense part of the soup. There's the force, or the emotional, or the spiritual. That's the center part, where spirits and things like that reside. And then at the very top is the very, very fine mist part of the soup, the steam, if you will. That is the mind, okay? The infinite mind, the mental realm. Everything begins there, and it gets denser and denser and denser until it becomes matter. Okay? And likewise, if matter wants to ascend, it has to release the slower vibrations and gain higher vibrations. That's why people say raise your vibration, raise your frequency, etc., etc. Nobody really gives definition on how to do that, but there's a few tips, like, say, eating healthy and thinking positive thoughts and things of that nature. What that does is it raises the frequency of higher vibrating thoughts. Okay, frequency means how frequent it loops. So if you're vibrating thoughts are of a higher frequency, if you're thinking positive thoughts, if you're eating better, if you're having more confidence, if you are doing all these things that make for the ideal person that you want to be frequently, right? Now you're raising your frequency because you're aligning your personal energy with the archetype of someone who achieves results through the methods that you're applying. So if you're watching motivational videos and motivational speakers and they talk about how they got through their problems, they talk about how they tackle life and what they do, 10 things successful do every day and all that stuff, and you start integrating it into your life, you're raising your vibration up to where they are. Likewise, if you're feeding and entertaining yourself with junk, with violence and anger and hate and gossip and all this thick stuff, it begins to lower your vibration. You begin to sink. You begin to separate, right? That's why some people are here for the entertainment and some people are here for the education, right? Some are going up, some are going down. Now, in the religions, when we talk about heaven and hell, we're only talking about the two poles of the vibration, the lowest, the densest, and the highest, the finest. And we as humans are generally in the middle, and we kind of fluctuate, depending on where our three bodies vibrate. If you're physically adding lower vibrations to your life and doing things you shouldn't do, polluting your body, poisoning your body, taking part in activities that are not good for you, you're lowering your physical vibration. If you're spending your energy recklessly on negativity, on hate, on jealousy, on envy, the 7 deadly sins, if you're spending your force and your energetic level on those negative things, it lowers your vibration. And likewise, on the mental realm, if you are repetitively thinking heavy thoughts, it begins to pull you down, whether that's sadness and depression, whether that's failure, whether that's self-defeating conversation, whatever. If your body is not aligned in a positive direction, then it's either going to be stagnant or it's going to sink. We're always at that crossroads. Every moment is at a crossroads. We decide which way we're going to go, right? And over time, it's like a graph. You pinpoint, where you were this day or that day on that hour, and you can kind of see the fluctuation, right? Because every day is just another set of numbers, another set of experiences. And the more that you're doing on one direction or the other, when you zoom out on that graph, you begin to see, is this person ascending or descending? It's not about the fancy words you say, the clothes you wear, or the photos you like. It's about what you're making your decisions on. Are you going low or are you going high? You know what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you show people. You know in your head which direction you're going. It's nothing to see. Now, the thing about the evoking of demonic spirits and summoning demons and all that stuff, each one of these demons and these angels and these spirits are different levels of energy, different frequencies. Remember I said it's like layers of a soup or like layers of pancakes. Each different energy that you can tap into is a separate layer, right? So if you're evoking a demonic spirit for wealth, you're tapping into a frequency of wealth, a portion of that energy, right? Because you have created a point of contact, right? That energy of wealth, right? We've got a demonic spirit for it, right? Say we've got Bune. We have a sigil to represent that energy. So now I focus my attention, my force, my body on that sigil, which I know in my subconscious mind accesses that energy of wealth. So when I do a ritual with different corresponding colors, candles, and incense, and all that different stuff, what I'm doing is I'm focusing all my attention on that energy through that sigil. I'm focusing my mind, my force, and my physical body. That's essentially what evoking spirits is. Channeling that energy and getting effective at it. So you do it on purpose and you get results on purpose. But it gets deeper than that because anybody can do that. What are you doing with that ability? Why are you doing it? Are you doing it to get laid? Are you doing it just to get rich so that you can get more bills to pay and then you have to do it all over again? Right? For fame, for fortune, whatever, everyone's got a vice. But why are you doing this? It's just like an internet marketer can teach you how to make money, but once you reach that level of making money, you got a whole new set of problems you got to contend with. And if your compass isn't right, that more money, that more energy is going to cause you to destroy yourself. You're going to make some decision that was imbalanced, and all that energy that you've been carrying will topple over on itself. That's why people say it's unsafe, it's dangerous, it's scary to work with demonic spirits, because usually the people they're hearing these stories from didn't know what they were doing in the first place. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you're interested in evoking spirits and using this as an actual lifestyle, what I recommend first is learning how to quiet your mind, learning how to meditate, learning how to be still. Because these vibrations move and they conflict with each other. Your body's talking to you, your emotions are talking to you, and your mind is chattering, right? But there's a fourth body, and this is the soul. This is the infinite. This is the all that we talk about in the Kabbalion. This is the God of the Bible. There's a higher self, and it doesn't contend with these lower three voices. This voice is above the heart chakra. The lower three voices, guess what they are? But that high voice of intuition doesn't fight against these other terrestrial voices. It's patient because it's part of a much bigger plan. See, it's like a hierarchy, okay, like a pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, you've got the body. Now, the body doesn't understand emotions, and it doesn't understand logic, and it damn sure doesn't understand God, right? That's why they're at the two poles, the beast and the God. But anyways, the body speaks through its desires. It needs to be fed. It needs to have sex. It needs to be cleaned. It needs to take a shit or a piss. That's its communication style. Now, the body's commander is the emotions. Now, the emotions don't really think too clearly, but they know how to master the body. They know how to manipulate the body. Again, like I said, if you're horny, your emotions are going to push the body into pleasing itself, right? If you're having some type of complex that you got as a child and you start hearing words and seeing the scenario that you used to be in, your emotions are going to get all shaken up, and it's going to remind the body of the trauma that you went through. So now the emotions are forcing the body to comply. That's why it's so important to take control of your mind, because the mind supersedes the emotions and the physical body. Mastering your mind allows you to master your emotions, because when you identify more with the higher self, with the mind, you can see when the emotions begin to do its thing, when the emotions begin to cry wolf, or get depressed, or angry, or full of ego, or whatever. The mind is on top of that. And now you can make the decision to go along with this emotional imbalance, or to control the emotions, thereby controlling the body. Because everything is a decision. You're the decision maker. And every time before you snap, you have that moment where you can say, should I do this or should I not do this? Sometimes we can't overpower our emotions and we go and do it. Sometimes we have a little bit more discipline and we say, you know what, it ain't worth it. This is the power of the mind. So imagine, once you begin to control yourself, now you can take on bigger pieces of energy. It should be a gradual process. You don't just jump into summoning the scariest thing you've ever seen, because you will have a backlash. Why? Because you're expecting a backlash. Because you haven't controlled your mind enough to understand that you are in control. If you believe that you were in control, you wouldn't be afraid of invisible monsters. And that goes for conspiracy theories and all this other stuff too. If you truly believe that you were a God, if you truly believe that you were in control, you would understand that everything that happens is in divine order. So we go back up to the all, the higher aspect. So the body can only see what's in front of it. The emotions can kind of see a little bit further. The mind has a little bit of a wider scope on reality, but the infinite, the all, has the total scope. This is why it's important to listen to your intuition and trust that inner voice when it speaks with you. When you're balanced and you're centered, you can hear intuition so much clearer than if you got all this noise going on. Hungry. I need to be fed. I need to have sex. I need to go study because I'm insecure. When you balance yourself and understand that you are where you are because you're supposed to be there, you can clearly hear the message of intuition speaking to you and eventually speaking through you. So this is how you deal with spirits effectively and get them to comply. and get them to enjoy complying. Because you align yourself with divine will. Therefore, everything in existence has to comply. Luke chapter 10, verses 17 through 19. I give you authority over serpents and scorpions and all the ways of the enemy. Rejoice not that you have authority over spirits, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. Yeah, you have authority to control the lower natures. It's your birthright. But don't celebrate over that. Understand that it's because you're aligned with the Most High, with a higher purpose. So, if you're trying to deal with a spirit and you don't know what it's like when it's communicating with you, or, I asked a guy, has the spirit been reaching out to you? And he says, I don't think so. I keep seeing symbols about the spirit, and I keep seeing the spirit, his birthday lines up with my day, the sign's the same as my sign, all these coincidences. And I'm like, well, there you go. That's the spirit communicating with you. It's not going to whisper in your ear. It talks to you through your environment, because we're dealing with energy, and energy uses what's in your environment to communicate with you. Kind of like how in the Transformers movie, Bumblebee spoke through random lyrics on a radio. It's like that. The spirit will use whatever is in your scope of attention to get through to you. You just have to have the clear eyes to see what's going on. Now, this isn't about making everything a divine sign. That's why it's important to listen to your intuition, because your intuition knows immediately what's what. You don't have to use your logical brain to say, well, maybe this happened because this, so that must mean Oshun is talking to me. You just know. There's no convincing involved, right? Decision making happens on the mental realm. But when you go up to the all, it's a knowing. I call that the diamond level. At that level, light is just passing through you, right? And in the mental level, it's reflecting from above. But you're not deciding, should I do this or should I not do that? You're still in duality here. But when you go up to the higher levels, it's just it's a pure knowing, right? When they talk about nirvana and enlightenment and all that stuff, it's a state of pure knowing. It's not someplace that you stay. It is a level that you learn how to maintain. And you get ever increasing amounts of it the more that you practice. So, if you want to summon demons, go right ahead. But if you want to be a master at it, learn how to meditate. Learn how to hear that quiet voice. Every time I get asked that question, I'm going to make a better video about it, so keep asking me. Oh, I was supposed to be making other videos, but, listening to intuition tells me that I should have made this message instead of what I was going to do, so we'll save that for another time. This is TK Trav. Join the Magus Society on Facebook. The link is in the bio, of course. And also, I just opened up a book study club where we go through some of the most important books in the occult, like the Kabbalion, Basic Magic, Liber Null and the Psychonaut. We're going to get into Mystical Kabbalah. We're going to get into 72 Demons of Magic. We're going to get into Angels of Magic. We're going to get into all types of books. I'm going to provide a chapter-by-chapter breakdown. I'm going to aim for like 3 to 5 new videos a week. There's also going to be a group discussion once a week. I'm thinking Fridays right now. So it's $33 a month. I am closing the door at 100 members because it's going to be a lot to maintain at first. I'm kind of working my way up. But the link is directly in the bio. First link you'll see. So sign up for that if you are serious about studying these books. This is TK Trav, a.k.a. Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Peace.